All right, how's everyone doing? I am Rich CELENZA. Thanks for checking out the Rich CELENZA show. So, what I'm going to call this podcast is Let It Go. Now, sometimes I think living in Orlando, Florida, I'm around too much Disney. So, it kind of hit me right even while I'm saying this from the movie Frozen, the song Let It Go. Anyways, it has nothing to do with that. What I'm going to be talking about today is people just constantly carrying a burden, in my opinion, and just do not know how to let things go. They carry this blanket of either guilt of what they did, or they carry around a lot of hatred for what somebody else did. Or, there's actually so many different things when it comes to this subject of letting it go. But I'm here to tell you, I get a lot of people out there, you've been hurt or you even hurt others, even if it wasn't intentionally. I think it happens to everyone. I'm going to tell you, I don't care who you are. A lot of times we do things in our life we don't realize until later how much we regret it. I also think a lot of times people do things to us that we do not want to let go. And we just carry all this. I call them anchors a lot of times. If you listen to my podcast, it's life is just so much of carrying around so much baggage. I almost, when I used to travel a lot with luggage, when I was younger, I'd carry all this luggage around with me because I had all these different suits and I wanted all these different shoes, and I was a lot bigger guy too, so I had more suitcases. But I remember when I used to travel, my mom would make fun of me back then. And I'd come in with, not only me or my ex-wife or whoever, my kids, everything. I'm walking in with 8 pieces of luggage and stuff and carrying all this baggage. And then as time went on and I learned to travel, I became a lot more efficient in life. And I know that sounds kind of weird, but I look at life a lot like that, about being, more mobile and efficient mentally. It's not just physically. And even when I travel now, sometimes if I have to carry 2 big suitcases, say for instance, for some reason or another, if it was for work, and then maybe a backpack because of my computer, man, I'm dragging this around and it's not easy going through the airport. But then all of a sudden when I can condense things into one, say, suitcase, before you know it, I can condense it into a smaller, maybe carry-on. I'm hauling ass. And I do believe a lot of times, again, with the brain or with our mind, is there's so many things that are bogging us down that kind of interrupt our day and give us all these kind of emotions that we're real high, we're real low, we're in the middle, we're mad, we're laughing, we're sad, we're depressed. Now we're up here. And I think a lot of that are feelings of our past, again, of what we've done or what somebody has done to us, right? But back to letting it go, my God. A lot of times, too, I'm going to say this, we hear other people talking about a lot of things. It could be on phone conversations personally. It could go for personal work, whatever. And we're like, man, why don't they just let it go? Right? In the back of your head, you could be eating breakfast, lunch, friends, and you're like, they won't let this go. It could be an old relationship they keep bringing up, an old friendship, or what somebody did to them. And I'm talking decades. Some of this shit goes 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. I get a lot of people get hurt, but you have to move on. In life, you have to let certain things go. A lot of what you're carrying, no one else feels, and no one else really at the end of the day gives a shit. I'm here to tell you. But if you keep bringing up old shit constantly and you don't want to let it go, that must be in some form gives you security. That becomes part of your identity, that you have to always carry these burdens around. Now, I am going to say, I'm not talking about loved ones or losing loved ones. That's a whole different thing. That's not what I'm talking about here. That's none of my business what you went through if you lost family members, friends, or whoever. I'm talking about stuff, and I teach a program, Mastering Self-Confidence, and I talk a lot with dudes about having to learn from the rejection, right? And also you don't have to necessarily let it go like it never happened, too, and learn from it. But just let that go. You have to move on to the next. If you're looking for a girlfriend or looking to find a relationship or just wanting to date different women, or even when it comes to meeting different friends, maybe you had friends that hurt you. Maybe you don't have a lot of friends. Maybe your friends, a lot of times we talk about being ghosted, right? But a lot of times we relate it to relationships. As far as men and women, or men and men, or women and women, or whatever. But a lot of times, you have friends in your life too that can ghost you as well and all of a sudden just disappear out of your life. A lot of times, I don't even look at that as a bad thing, to be honest with you. Even some of my closest friends that I've been with throughout my life have kind of come and gone. And just because they went for a while, I don't know, sometimes maybe they just need to go do whatever they need to do. I don't know what they're going through in their life. Sometimes I just may be too much for them. Maybe at times I'm the problem. Maybe I'm aggravating them. Maybe I'm too, whatever I am. I don't know what I am, but I could be just, whatever I'm doing, they're not comfortable being around me as much, or in general. At this point in time in my life, that doesn't mean maybe later down the road. But, you got to look, a lot of times I talk about, look at your behavior, obviously, besides other behavior, other people's behavior. And I just want to do a podcast on this because, again, it kind of breaks my heart. And I'm going to also talk about, really, to end this, kind of carrying the burden of kind of the hindsight thing. A lot of times, especially with finances, I wish I would have done this, I wish I would have done that. And again, not letting that go. So many people I know live in that hindsight world, and I get it, I do too at times. I'm not going to lie. I'm trying to catch myself not getting caught up in that. But some things you just got to let go, man. You just got to. It's hard, especially when you intertwined a lot of other things involved, and it could be a divorce. It could be, again, losing your home, your car. You're like, man, you know what I mean? This did this to me. And there's kind of a lot of remembrance, is that the word? Where sometimes, like, say you've had things happen in your past. It could be 4, 5, 6 years ago. You're trying to move past it, and then it may have destroyed part of your credit, and then you go to buy a car, or you go to rent a place, or get a mortgage, and it comes up again. It could be having to file bankruptcy. All these things that are just kind of, they don't only bog you down, but they embarrass you a lot of times, especially if you have to, kind of talk about it publicly or put it in writing. I get it's hard, man. It is hard a lot of times because I think sometimes in life, it's one of the worst things is being embarrassed. And I think, again, no matter who you are in your life, you're going to get embarrassed because I think other people sometimes, either they don't mean to embarrass you or they sometimes mean to embarrass you and out you. And sometimes that's just life. You can't control what other people are going to do to you. How you handle that situation, I think, is what's going to really determine if you've, moved on from that and taking kind of the high road. Now, I'm not telling you to let people embarrass you and like you could sit there and look like a jagoff. But I am saying a lot of times people that are out there maybe saying things or doing things, they usually have the problem more than you do. And I'm not saying not confront them, of course, confront them. But again, don't let what others are saying and doing a lot of times, or what they've said and done in the past, bog you down. Because again, I think a lot of us have said and done shit to people, maybe not even realizing how much it hurt them, right? And, these are all things that you just got to think about in life. Have the freedom sometimes just to start clearing your mind and just thinking, like, it's like brain freedom. I had a word for it the other day, but now it's not coming to me. But it's something like, it's not just clear your brain. A lot of times like, oh yeah, clear out your brain, go on a vacation, or just try to block it out, or do that's hard shit. But really just starting to think about other things, not getting so caught up with the past, and hopefully looking forward to the future and what that has to offer. But so many of us, we just can't let the past go, man. We cannot let it go. You got to let it go, I think. Again, that doesn't mean you have to get to the point where you have to forget about it or pretend it never existed. But if it is emotionally kind of taking a toll on you still, or paralyzing you from maybe moving on to, again, if you had bad relationships in your past, it's not going to maybe hopefully be like that in the future. You can't say every woman or man or whoever you were with is going to treat you that way. Or maybe, again, it was the way you treated them. All right? Just think about these things. A lot of this stuff in life comes down, I believe, to relationships and friendships. If you've done something maybe to somebody that you've been carrying around, go talk to them. I'm just telling you. Or if somebody's done something to you and whatever the case may be, is it really worth ending friendships or relationships over? A lot of times, if you just probably sat down with the person and said, listen, I didn't appreciate this, and a lot of times they'll hit you back and say, well, I didn't like what you did here, or I didn't, this happened, and I didn't mean for that to get blown out of proportion. A lot of things just, I call it starting with a wick, and then before you know it, it's like a blazing fire. You know what I mean? And it gets out of control, where a lot of things should have never gotten as bad as they did, but they did sometimes. And you just got to confront those things. But again, again, the stress that not letting things go after a certain amount of time. And I get at the point in time, a lot of times when we go through certain things, it is hard. And for a long time now, if I get very aggravated at what somebody did or said something to me, I try at least. I try. I don't always, I'm not going to say I always succeed. I try to give a 24 to 48 hour turnaround. I know you may be like, Rich, that's absolutely crazy, but I'm telling you, a lot of times when something really aggravates me or somebody I think does something, I say, you know what, let me chill out for a while. Because a lot of times I'm ready to explode maybe, or I'm ready to, verbally yell or something like that. But I'm like, is this worth it? Is getting this upset? And usually in 24 to 48 hours, things change and I get a little more information and I just kind of calm it all down. Instead of always being so reactive, I kind of just go the other way. I kind of just want to absorb it. And I'm just telling you, you may be somebody who finds yourself not being able to let a lot of things go, or constantly being upset, being mad. It can be honestly even getting in a car. I've seen a lot lately. People are always upset with traffic. They're screaming. They almost get in the car and they're aggravated. You got to let that shit go. I'm just telling you right now. Because if you don't, if you're already getting in your car and you're miserable, all that's going to do is make the ride miserable. It's not like everybody in the world is just going to get out of the way for you. And I'm just using that for an example. That could be at work. That could be in your relationship. It could be with whoever. But if you're already aggravated just saying, before you even have a discussion with somebody or certain people, a lot of it comes down on you and kind of, I believe, of not letting a lot of other things in your past go with whatever you're doing or what people have done to you. All right, I'm going to wrap it up there. Got any questions or comments, you could hit me up. I'm at richcelenza.com, masteringselfconfidence.com as well. So, I wish everyone nothing but the best.